Today's video is sponsored by Squarespace. Whether you need a domain, a website, or an online store, make your next move with Squarespace. Start your free trial today over at squarespace.com and head over to squarespace.com/mattday to get 10% off your first purchase. What's up guys, Matt Day here, and today we're going to be talking about the truth of making a living with photography. For the majority of photographers out there, they love the idea of making photography their career, but they're a little intimidated by it, or they're just not really sure where to start, so they tend to just stick to their regular day job and then pursue photography in their free time, whether it be just for their own enjoyment or also just kind of as a side job, but that's really as far as they usually take it. But the grass is always greener, so they can't stop thinking about just how sweet it would be to make a living with photography because they love it so much. And it is sweet, it's great, it's one of the most rewarding things ever to be able to do something that you love and make a living out of it. You get to have that creative outlet, which is huge, and you also get to do a lot of really cool things and see a lot of cool places just because of where the job can take you. But I'm going to give you a heads up and let you know that it is not just a breeze. In fact, it's usually pretty tough to make a living with photography because if you're used to working, your regular 9-to-5 job or whatever it may be, and you're used to having that income every 2 weeks or even every week, you can pretty much kiss that goodbye. You're not guaranteed anything. You have to make it happen for every single job or you're not going to pay those bills. And there really is no right or wrong formula to any of this. Every photographer is different. Every area that they're working in is different. And it's really up to each photographer to figure out exactly what's going to work best for them. Now, I'm not trying to make it sound like this is some horrible life and that it's never going to work and you should not try. That's not what I'm trying to say at all, because I've personally done this and I couldn't be more thankful for all the things that photography has given me. But I wanted to make this video because I'm constantly getting questions about people saying that they want to start doing photography, whether it be just as a side job or just pursue it full time, and they just want to know what it's like. And I want to make this as honest as possible because I feel like that's the only way it's actually going to be helpful. And one thing that I think a lot of people don't necessarily take into consideration, something that a lot of people don't talk about, and something that's personally happened to me. And being a photographer for a living, it's very easy to get burnt out. Up until this year, since about 2010 or 2011, the vast majority of my income that I've made has always been through photography. In the summertime, I would help out with my dad working in the cemeteries, and that was really just kind of like a little side job for me, and I made a lot more with photography, so that was always my focus, and I was taking every single job I could get, every wedding, every engagement, family, event, band, you name it. I was shooting absolutely everything because, that's what it took. In order to make ends meet, that's what I had to do. I had to shoot nonstop. But when you pick up that camera and it's strictly for a paycheck, it doesn't necessarily feel as much like a creative outlet, and it immediately becomes more like a tool for a job with these instructions to follow. This pose plus this location plus this time of day equals these results that are extremely repeatable. So I can do this over and over and over every single day, and that just means, less time shooting, so the sooner I can clock out and actually get paid. And that was the kind of mindset I had for a while because I was doing this to make a living and I wanted to be as efficient as possible. So I was repeating the same stuff, same location, same everything over and over because the results worked. I was happy enough with the photos, my clients were happy enough with the photos, and that's really all that mattered. As long as I didn't have any issues, I wasn't trying to push myself because that just meant more time, and I needed to get the job done, and I was just trying to burn through everything. And I was trying to make money as quickly and efficiently as possible. So on paper, all of this sounds great. You've got less time working and, more money being made, and that just seems like a no-brainer. But the problem with that is that sort of repetition can instantly start to basically deteriorate all of that passion and drive that you have for photography because you're picking it up for work every single time, and it's easy to just relate that to work. And whenever you want to just relax and kind of take your hands off, the last thing you usually want to do is pick up the camera. At least for me, after several years of doing it non-stop, it started to feel a lot more like I was only doing it to make a living, and that's really when I started to kind of reassess things, because I never wanted to feel that way. I never thought I was ever going to feel that way. I thought that was impossible. I had heard people say, well, you can get burnt out on doing it, but I thought that was crazy because I loved photography. I thought there's no way anyone else that's gotten burnt out really loved it then. And that's not really the case. I highly doubt the reason you picked up a camera was to make money, and if so, I think you chose the wrong career, because there are hundreds of ways to make money much easier than photography. The reason most of us pick up that camera is because we need that creative outlet. It's something we love, it's something we really enjoy doing, and we just keep shooting because it's something that we actually feel invested in, and something that we get something out of for ourselves, not for a paycheck, but just for ourselves. And that is something that is extremely important, because whenever you lose that, you lose everything. I mean, it's extremely important to always be pushing yourself and pushing your creativity and trying new things out and just learning and exploring the world of photography. But whenever you kind of strip things down to just the bare essentials, and you have these repeatable formulas that you just go through and just get it done as quickly as possible, it really starts to take the fun out of that. It's extremely important to always be pushing yourself, especially when it's your career, because that's when you're most likely to get burnt out. You know, try new locations, new lighting, new everything. Just try and get creative with your composition. Just try and always be learning. That's what kind of keeps that spark alive, and that's what you have to hold on to. Now for me, as most of you guys know, I took over my dad's business where we engraved death dates into tombstones. I took this over back in February after he passed away, and this is something that I've done for years with him, all those years during the summer months, just as kind of like a side job, but now that's actually what I do. So it's entirely different from, you know, taking photos of like a child's birth or, you know, a wedding day. Now I'm engraving death dates in tombstones, which I guess it kind of makes everything come full circle. But either way, this is what I do for a living now. Monday through Friday, this is my main source of income. And honestly, I absolutely love this job. The fact that, you know, for 6 or 7 years, I was taking every single job that came my way, and now I can kind of, you know, pick and choose the jobs that I'm really interested in, and, you know, kind of just fill up my schedule as little as possible. It's really, really nice. My wedding couples that I work with, I still get to know them before their wedding day and hear their story and how they met and all of that. And it's nice to be able to feel so much more invested and have the time and the energy to be that invested in their day, because I'm not so burnt out from shooting multiple weddings every single weekend of the year. So it's fresh and it's exciting for me, and it just adds that creative outlet that is extremely important, like we talked about. It still gives me that, but it's in a much more manageable dose, to where it's not something that I'm just overwhelmed with and trying to get done with as soon as possible. I used to have just a mental shot list in my mind of the same thing I wanted to do every single time and just run through it as quick as possible, and now I have a lot more interest in just exploring different light, composition, everything, even on a wedding day, even on other jobs as well, whether I'm working with a band or a family, whatever it may be. They're jobs that I genuinely want to do, and it's nice to be able to do that because I can still have that passion for it. I feel like this whole process has led me to making better photos for my wedding couples this year than it has in any of the previous years before, and I'm not even a full-time wedding photographer now. It's great. So if you have a regular job outside of photography and you've really been thinking about doing photography full-time, just think about it. Know that while you might absolutely love it, it might not also be bad to just hang on to that job for a while and do photography on the side, and maybe just pick and choose certain jobs that you really, really want to do, and see how that feels. You don't have to jump in head first and just try to figure things out. You can kind of ease into things, and hopefully that's something that actually might help you figure out if it's something you really do want to do or not. Honestly, doing this for so many years, I wasn't sure how I would feel taking over the family business in the cemeteries, even though this is something that my dad and I and our whole family, we had planned on this for years. It was always in the plans for me to take over the business. But as, you know, years got closer and closer, I started thinking about it, and I just wasn't necessarily sure if that's what I really wanted to do. But now that I'm doing it, I absolutely love it. I take a lot of pride in it, and I love the freedom it's given me within photography, so I could not be more thankful. So I hope this was helpful for you in giving you a little bit of insight into, what it's like to do photography full-time. Obviously, it's different for everybody, but I wanted to talk about this because this is the kind of stuff I would have liked to hear before from other people. A lot of people just said that basically it's not doable because it's tough. And that's what I heard from a lot of people. And I don't want to be that person at all. I want this to be encouraging and just let you know that it is absolutely doable. I've been extremely lucky and blessed to do a lot of the different things that photography has given me. And I'm extremely thankful for it. But at the same time, I want to be realistic and I want to be honest with you guys. So none of this is meant to scare you away from doing photography for a living at all. It is 100% doable. You just need to know exactly what it takes, and more than anything, just know that you have to really push yourself to keep yourself from getting burnt out and, having that passion for photography kind of dwindle down because you're just overwhelmed with everything. So you really do need to push yourself and never stop shooting for yourself. Even when you're shooting all the time, it's easy to just put it off because you don't always feel like it. But it is one aspect of it that comes with the job, and I just wanted to talk about this because a lot of people, I feel like they either don't want to talk about it, maybe they're too ashamed to say that, they get burnt out from time to time, but I just wanted to let you know it does happen. But it's just something that you can hopefully avoid if you decide to do it for a living. So let me know what your guys' thoughts are in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching. I always appreciate the support, and I'll see you guys next time.